August 19th. Okay. Well, that sounds like fun. Good stuff. Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I need to get on her mailing list then. Yeah, I definitely need to get on her mailing list. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. To race.
Thank you. Sorry we lost track of time. I'd like to welcome everybody for being here tonight and ask you to silence your telephones, and I'm going to do that right now in front of everybody. And then we're going to ask Chief Page to offer our invocation.
Heavenly Father God, we thank you for this beautiful weather we've had, Lord. We thank you for all the blessings you've given us. God, we ask that you be with our council tonight and making decisions affecting our city. God, that your will be done through all things. We say this in precious son's name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the next item on the agenda is items of community interest. Cindy is going to tell us about what's going on Friday night with her department. I know you'd love it when I do this to you.
So Friday night is our Mom's Night Out, Sip and Stroll with Me. It starts at 5 o'clock and goes till 8 o'clock, and we have about over 30 locations now downtown to visit. So I encourage everybody to go out and look for your chance to win a free gift basket. We're going to have a basket that has something from every location in it, and you'll be able to sign up. And then the following week, we will do a Facebook Live video and draw for a winner. So there's some pretty good stuff in the basket already started. And then if you wear your armband down to the community center, you can get $5 off your ticket to the door to see the Johnny Cash tribute. So that concert is that same night, and they're going to have concessions with the Churro Kings. So
I think the Churro Kings are not.
oh, they're not? Okay.
No, there's
Yeah.
been a death in the family, so.
Oh,
There-
okay, I
that
wasn't
won't be
aware of
there.
that. So anyway, well, then you can eat downtown and then go to the concert. And I believe the concert's going to start around 8, even though the flyer says 7. So,
And while you're at the podium,
uh-huh.
tell my council what the benefit brought in for the light up downtown
$2,000. So
and donations
yes.
at
Yeah,
the concert.
we had Thursday that had David Adden Burns. And if you weren't there, you missed a good one. He was very good, very good. George Strait, kind of similar music. So
yeah.
he was very, very wonderful guy. So,
Yes.
And we appreciate Steen Entertainment for helping with that.
Yes,
So,
but we want the community to know how grateful we are. $2,000 is a good start on our Light Up Downtown Fund.
that's
So-
right. Our goal
And we're
is-
still taking donations in case anybody wants.
That's right. Our goal is $10,000. And we will have jars at all the locations at Sip and Stroll as well, so for donations.
Yes.
So,
Thank you, Cindy.
yeah,
Thank you very much for all that.
sure.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a proclamation, which Cindy's going to get to come to the front. Who's taking the picture for Barbara? Okay. She's going to want a picture. All right, which is your good side? I know that's important to you. Okay, we have a proclamation for the National Travel and Tourism Week of 2023. Whereas the travel industry fuels every industry and will All right, next item on the agenda is the city manager's report, so we'll turn it over to Bert.
Is that close enough? I'm being chewed on because I don't get close enough to the microphone, so I'm probably gonna talk real loud tonight.
Mildred will be happy. Mildred will be very happy about that.
Good. The mayor and I had a meeting with Ken Lindberg, Wayne Thomas, and Wes Williams from BTU, that's Bryan, Texas Utilities, on April the 25th. We continue to have good relations and communication with them. They have finally brought new solar power online in the last month or so. Because of this low-cost power, our rates should be stable in the near future. However, BTU applied with the PUC to increase wholesale transmission rates, which will cost us, and this is quote, about 0.02% of the transmission cost over 30 years. So these additional transmission costs, if approved by the PUC from BTU, would be very small increase on Bowie's monthly invoice. We will continue to monitor our costs. Just so you will know, our rates are the lowest of any utility in our area. Any rate increase that we might have in the future that we recommend will be minor in nature. About the electric business, Jay Evans and his crews have been at the substation starting last Friday and continuing on Saturday. We had a problem with the regulator switch which controls one of the transformers. After they replaced the regulator, they had problems with the controls on the transformer. It would not power up like we wanted it to. On Saturday, they got it powered up, but it did not put it online until it was stabilized. It was finally put back online late Saturday, but we continue to have problems with the transformer controls. We are now on a part search for the components on the transformer that are not working properly. Jay and his guys have really put in a lot of extra hours keeping our lights on. So, and I'm sure I'll have more about that in the near future. Kirk Higgins put together a cybersecurity training program paid for by FEMA on Tuesday, May the 2nd, for the city and county employees at the community center. Sandy, Doug, Cindy Roller, Guy Green, Lynetta Slayton, Tony Laurent, Stephanie Post, me, and of course Kirk were the city employees that attended. There were 14 people there from other cities and counties with a total of 22 in attendance. The program leaders were very good and gave us plenty of things to think about. Coincidentally, while we were in class, the city of Dallas was hit with a ransomware attack, which proves we must keep our guard up. The main point is that the city employees that attended should share their training experience with other employees. Mike Tibbetts from Hayter Engineering was here again last Friday, May the 5th, discussing the Nelson Lamb Street Bridge Replacement Project. Because this area is downhill from all directions, it is a design nightmare. But we should have the complete design in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll be ready to bid the complete project with alternative bids for a few of the items. I've been discussing financing with government capital just in case we need to borrow some money to complete the project. The EPA and the TCEQ have started a project that we must complete by October of 2024, which gives us over a year to get it done. All water connections on city water, and this is nationwide. This is not just City of Bowie or statewide, it's nationwide. But we must inventory all water connections on city water to see what kind of pipes are used from our water lines to water meters, and then from what kind of lines are used from the meters to the homes. It's an effort of the EPA to eliminate lead lines in water systems. I told Jerry Sutton, who is spearheading the project, that it's better to start now and finish early than to panic at the very last moment to get it done. Jerry and Aaron Robertson at the water plant have been building forums so that all field city employees can help with the effort. We already have a lot of information, especially where we have been laying new water lines, but there's somewhere over 1,500 water meters that must be checked. I have an idea that eventually the EPA will come out with a program where they will pay for replacement of lead water lines in low to moderate income areas. Most homes that have been built since 1980 or later will have copper and/or PVC lines, which are allowable and not unhealthy. I'm sure I'll have to have more about this project later on. I don't think it'll cost us anything other than the time of the employees to dig in the water meter boxes and look at both lines coming into the meter and then going out of it. I'll be out of the office on May 10th, 11th, and 12th, attending the TML Small Cities Conference. Hopefully I'll learn something that will benefit the city in the near future. Any questions?
Is the EPA going to reimburse us for any of that time?
Do what?
Will the EPA reimburse us for any of that time it takes to check?
No.
Just do it and get over it?
Yep. That's just the way the game's played now. They give us mandates, but they don't give us a way to pay for them. Other than fines if we don't do it. Any questions?
Is the budget for, since this planning phase of it, is that going to change significantly or have, for the Lamb and Nelson Street project with Hager?
No, I mean, it's still, you know, it's a planning nightmare. And I kind of figured that out at a meeting the other day, because if you think about Nelson Street and where the bridge is, that's downhill from everywhere, every direction. And so that's where, you know, where it is. You got water coming from Houston Street, you got water coming down Nelson Street, you got water coming down the creek, you've got water coming down Mill Street, you've got water coming down Lamb Street from up at the school, and you've got water coming down Nelson Street in the other direction. And it all meets there. When we get the project built, you won't have any flooding problems. It'll pretty much take care of it. It's just a lot of planning. There's water lines that have to be relayed. There's sewer that have to be relayed. We'll probably on Nelson and Lamb, if we can afford to do Lamb, they'll probably be increased in height about a foot in order to take care of the culverts that are going to be underneath them. All the drop boxes from Houston and Mill and Lamb Street will have to be resized and increased so that they can handle the amount of water. So it's a design nightmare basically. So, and that's why it's taken so long to do it. So.
And is there a grant, remind me, is there grant money for this?
No,
It's all out of our pocket?
it's all out of our pocket.
And how much did you say that was?
We don't know yet. That we really won't know how much it's going to be until we start bidding the project. And the way we're bidding it as a complete project, Nelson Street Bridge and Lamb Street Bridge. We're also adding a couple of things on as alternatives, which is riprap in the creek above and below. We're also going to have Lamb Street as a alternative. In other words, if we can't afford to do the Lamb Street Bridge yet, it'll be an alternative, and you know, to lower the price. And that's going to be almost, not quite, but almost as expensive as the Nelson Street Bridge. So anyway, there's just a lot of things that we want to take a look at.
So is there an expense for them to figure this out?
Yes,
Did
we're
you talk
paying.
about that?
Yeah, we're paying the engineer right now. It'll probably just the design of it will probably cost us between 75 and 100,000 to get it designed.
Any other questions? I know that he told you, we met BTU and he gave you a pretty thorough report on it, and I never let them leave Bowie, Texas without asking them what they foresee in our future. And they foresee no rate changes. So back in 19, when they brought the new rate change to us, he said that they told me that we would be set through 23, and it looks like that's going to hold through the rest of the year for us for sure. So nothing coming from them is great for us, even if it just gives us some flexibility. All right, the next item on the agenda is consent agenda items for the minutes that were included in your packet. I would accept a motion to accept those minutes as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Post. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Bates? Shaw?
Yes.
Sproles?
Aye.
Post?
Aye.
And Bates?
Aye.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the financial statement, and if you wouldn't mind, Pamela, I'd like for you to come to the microphone. Well, I have a couple of questions tonight.
Okay.
There have been some questions asked of me. One is, you and I have discussed the restricted funds,
Correct.
and you and I have discussed over time, we'd like to clean this up.
Correct.
So I'm going to bring to the attention one of them to the council tonight. It's the Main Street Incentive Grant. We don't have a Main Street program, have not had one for 4 years.
That's correct.
And there's no telling how long that's been in there. So I would like to make a change tonight and take with the council's approval, take the Main Street grant money of $850 and contribute that to the Light Up the Downtown project, which would be the lights for the downtown. And that would start us on cleaning out the restricted funds. Now, because we are in the financial report tonight, we can ask and we can make decisions on changes. So
So were you seeing that?
this is on page 2. And it's in that top section, restricted accounts at $850. So I guess what I'm asking is for a council to make a motion to move that $850 to the Light Up the Funds account, which I'm assuming you're keeping separate,
I know.
Pamela?
I am. I am.
Second page of your book.
Oh, okay. I'll make a motion to move that $850.
Can you take?
I got a question.
Yes.
Is that the best use of those funds?
Well, that $850 has been sitting out there, I know, for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
Back when I was on the council.
So I had a motion by who?
Sproles.
Sproles made a motion to move that $850 to the Light Up Funds. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I don't
Second.
see it on here.
Galen,
Yes, ma'am.
still don't see it. I'm sorry.
13.
on my page 2.
It's page 13.
There's a couple of pages.
At the bottom.
Oh, it's a different, no, that's not where it is.
Is it not?
Yeah, 13 of them.
Yeah, it is.
Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
Where's all the, I don't even know where her book is. Right here. Oh, it's page 2 at the top.
I know, but it's, go by the bottom.
I know. See the $850?
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. So I have a motion and I have a second. Do we have any discussion? Brent, did you have any other discussion?
I'll second.
It's already second. So if not, then I'm going to ask for a vote. Post?
Aye.
Bates?
Aye.
Love's not here. Gunner's not here. Sproles?
Aye.
And Shaw?
No.
Okay, so it's a 3-1. So we're going to move those funds over to the donation account. Now these are questions I have just for education.
Okay,
I'm going to go back to the page numbers at the bottom.
please do.
So from last month to this month on page 2,
At the bottom.
yes, ma'am,
Okay.
the net pension changed dramatically.
Journal entries from the audit.
It went from a huge positive number to a huge negative number.
Correct. As you remember, the auditor was here last month,
Yes?
and she produced a lot of journal entries for those line items, and those are now completed.
Wow. Is that normal to be in that?
It is.
Okay. My next question is on page 3, under interest,
Okay?
the $54,000.
Yep, I even did a detailed line item of that. You have to remember, if you look at the back, very back page, that's all our funds. If you add all that 18 million up that you see, we collect interest on that monthly. Some of those we're collecting $5,000, $6,000 a month on the interest. That's what increased that interest as it is.
Wow.
So we have them in very, very good funds that's collecting anywhere from 4 to 5% a month interest. A lot of the CDs that we put in, the very first one on there is a very high interest rate for 6 months.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. I just saw that huge number change and I was, what are we doing right? I see we're about almost 50% on our electric purchase.
Correct.
And the rest of them I have would probably be under departments, so we'll just talk about those. Those don't have any changes. I just want to talk about them later. Does anybody
Okay.
have any questions for Pamela before she gives us what she wants it to tell us?
Budgeted credit card fees are, it looks like we're a little bit over kind of what we estimated.
Yeah, the revenue is a little bit over, and so is the expenditure.
Okay,
Um,
but
you
they
have-
still match each other.
They're a little, the expenditure's a little bit over the revenue right now, because we pay a lot of those quarterly, and it depends on when these are produced and when we make the payment,
Okay.
okay?
I
But
guess
we're
my
not-
question- go
We're
ahead.
not collecting more than we're,
That's what,
yeah,
No,
that's
we
where
are
we want
not.
to
In
be.
fact, we're a little
we're
bit
a little bit
behind,
low.
okay?
Okay.
Was that it, Brent?
That's all I had at the moment.
Okay. Now, would you like to go over anything with us?
I just want to bring to your attention that these financials look very well. If you look, our revenues are up all across the board compared to last year. As a whole, water and electric's a little bit lower than last year, and that's because we changed our billing. Wastewater's a little bit above last year's because of that slight increase that we did across the board. But also, our expenditures are a little bit lower than last year also. So right now, we're looking really well in the utility funds at about $350,000 with revenue over expenditures. As far as your general fund, it's looking excellent. You can see that our property tax, sales tax, hotel are all up compared to last year. As far as collections, our expenditures are also up and our revenues are up because a lot of it is of the grants we received. We received the revenue for the grants, but also we have to book the expenditures.
So isn't there a better way, maybe not a better way, but for those of us that aren't educated in accounting, for us to see those on a side-by-side instead of always showing negative when we,
Well, I can do that on a different sheet, but as far as being booked in here, what I want to do, and I've been working on that, and I've been talking with Bert, and I think I even ran it by you.
Yeah.
I wanted to pull out a different couple more line items. I've added a few already, so we can take a look at this. I want to be able to show our reimbursements. If someone goes to training and gets reimbursed for that, I would like to show that as a reimbursement, not just a revenue and expense. I want to be able to show that to the council and the citizens. Also would like to show the grants. Now, we do have to book our expenditures, which won't change, but you also see a line item showing the council how much we actually received in the grants for the year.
yeah, because that's what I'm anxious to see is I know that there's going to be several grants coming in and they're going to be tidy sums.
Correct. We've already
Um,
received quite a few,
Yeah,
actually.
so we don't want to show,
How it was done
obviously
in-
we have to show that.
Yeah, how it was done in the past, everything just went into miscellaneous and it got all encumbered. And that makes it very difficult for the council to see what's going on. You see the expenditures, but you're not seeing the revenues broken out.
that covers it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So all in all, we're ahead in all areas. There's a few departments, and mine's one of them in the finance department. The reason for is I'm showing a little bit over 50% as a whole is because the finance department pays for the total cost of Encode, the accounting software. And we pay that one lump fee up front. And also NextGrid. And you add both those together and it's almost 90,000 for the year.
But you pay all them in the beginning of the year, don't you?
That's correct.
Okay.
And that's why I'm showing a little bit over the 50%. It takes a while to absorb that.
So on page 16, Sandy and I actually have a question about this one. We have two accounts, one mixed drink account and one alcohol fee account. Aren't they
They
The
should
same
be
thing.
combined. They should be combined. It's just how they always booked them when they entered them in over at the cash receipting. They can be combined. They are the same thing.
Well, on the airport funds, why aren't we selling fuel for less than we're paying for it?
It depends on when we purchase the fuel. What happened a couple months back, fuel was so high, it was quite a bit of it, and we were concerned if we didn't purchase, the price was just gonna go up more and more. Actually, it's sitting in the tanks, and once they're all sold, it should work out. It should be a wash.
That's a question we have to
So,
answer a
yeah,
lot.
so you'll know, we got pretty low, trying to wait it out to go down, and it wouldn't go down.
That's correct. It
And
just
we-
kept going up.
We finally had to just bite the bullet and pull the trigger, so.
Go ahead, Laura.
On page 12, on the restricted, where it says cash CARES Act relief, what exactly do we use that for?
Well, it depends on what the council would like to use it for. That's restricted fund,
Right,
okay?
but what would we use it for?
We can use it for whatever the council feels fit. CARES release normally would go to an ambulance and/or police department.
Okay. Thank you.
The rate we're going, we're going to need a new ambulance. Well, we've made one restricted account go away.
I'd like to do more.
I would too. I'd like to see this narrowed down a whole lot. Like, I don't understand why we have two. Well, I see you've got some in tech school.
Oh, on the second Monday?
The library memorial.
Yeah, oh, okay, library, same thing, the second Monday, we have cash, which is restricted from our Legend Bank, and then we also have Texpool and/or Techstar restricted.
So to make this go away, we just need to spend it? Is that-
Either combined it or release the funds to pay down their
Something else.
expenditures. Right now, we're not using a lot of those funds to pay down their expenditure. The overall general fund account is paying down their expenditures, their salary, their purchases, and so forth. On some of the items, though, it does. We do reduce the cash as their expenditures come in. They're only can be used for those departments so that it's restricted for.
So, like the library memorial, we write off library fees all the time. Could we not use that?
The
that
library
instead of
memorial,
writing off?
my understanding is for the memorial fund, which I'm assuming that she has a council and/or a board or a deck.
She has a board.
Yes.
She has a board.
That's for them to designate how they would like it spent.
And those funds are usually donations.
Right.
So we don't use really,
So you
we don't
can't
usually
use
use
it for that.
donations to pay bad debts.
Okay. I'm just trying to find a way to spend
No,
the
that's
money.
great. Hey. So we did a parking lot, but we had some money to do that with.
That's correct.
And then what is the opioids fund? Why is it in the red?
Well, that's a good question. There's some typos, okay?
Oh, good.
Some entering. That is a funds that I believe your city manager turned in for a year or two ago, and we finally received the funds.
I thought we did.
Mhm.
Didn't you get a grant? Opioid?
Yeah, it's money coming. It's money coming from the state, the opioid deal. Anyway, we got the first check month and a half ago, something like that.
That's correct.
There should be, to the tune, when everything is said and done, of $80,000, but that's just, and we can only use it for things, training, we can use it for a lot of the things that the fire department, the EMTs, that they use for drug stuff. We can use it for training for them, for training for the police department and whatnot.
That's correct. It's
And
restricted.
I've asked Doug, and Doug just said, I don't know. It wasn't that bad, Doug, I'm kidding you. But, I mean, it's real hard to figure out what you can spend that kind of money for when you've never had it before. And fortunately, we don't have an opioid crisis like a lot of people do. And I'm sure when the ER, the emergency room, gets up and running, that we can probably use some of that money to help them as far as opioid stuff. So, you know, we're just trying to barnstorm right now, and try to brainstorm and try to figure out exactly what we're gonna do with it, so.
Wow, this is the best coverage we've had on a financial report in a while.
I need to make the council aware of a complaint I had the other day and the reason for the complaint and what the deal was, because you're gonna start seeing it now. Because a couple of years ago, we, increased our sewer rates, and we have a sewer rate increase every year for 5 years to pay the note on the sewer line project. Well, this is probably the second month it's happened, but it's the first complaint I got, is sewer bills are higher in a lot of instances than water bills right now. Not much higher, they're real close to the same, but, you know, people are saying, why is my sewer bill higher than my water bill? It has nothing to do with usage, it has to do with that's where the money's coming from to pay for the Texas Water Development Board note. And you know, that we had to pay for it with something, and that's what we did. So if you get a call, somebody complaining about it, that's exactly what the reason is, so you need to know that.
Yeah, it's in the base rate.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any other statements?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, let's go on to new business. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Bowie, Texas, approving and authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Tymco, Inc., a Texas corporation for purchase of a street sweeper. Yes. Oh, I might should do that, shouldn't I? Okay, ignore everything I just said. And let's ask for a vote on the financial report. It did not show up in my thing in the right
Well,
order.
that's because we normally do it as one vote
Right.
for the minutes and
So I thought it was done.
Yeah.
Well, you see how anxious I was tonight? Nobody stopped me. All right, well, we're going to do one on the financials. Do we have a motion to accept the financial report as presented?
Make a motion.
Bates? Second?
Second.
Post? Sproles?
Aye.
Shaw?
Yes.
Bates?
Aye.
Post?
Aye.
Okay, now are you happy?
Okay, if y'all will remember last year when we did the budget, it was nearly a year ago, like last summer, when we did the budget, we budgeted for a street sweeper. The whole idea back then was to pay cash for the thing, but the cost of the street sweeper went up exorbitantly, and so in order to continue get the street sweeper, we've made an agreement with Tymco to do a lease purchase. We'll do $100,000 down payment and then the rest of it in yearly payments. I think that's right, isn't it, Pam? Yeah, 3 payments of, I think, $33,000. Yeah, anyway, it's basically a lease purchase, but because of the increased cost, when we budgeted for it, we didn't foresee, which was, you know, bad on our side, but we didn't foresee the extreme, it almost doubled in price. So that's why we're doing the lease purchase and why we're asking for a resolution, so I can sign the deal. They wanted the money up front, but I told them I wouldn't give them a check until they delivered the equipment, so.
So we approved 132,000?
Well, the 100,000 was really approved in the budget. What
Right.
you're approving is the rest of it now.
So when we made the deal, we didn't have a price, like,
Yeah, we had good quotes at the time
so why can't they stick with their quote?
because increased costs.
We didn't buy it then either.
Just increased cost. I mean, you know, I can't say anything other than that.
Normally, when you buy something, you go, I'm gonna buy it for $100,000,
Well, this is specialty equipment that's custom made for us. It's a piece of equipment that any of our people can drive. The one we have now takes a CDL to drive it. This is such that any of our people can buy it or drive it. Anyway, I can't tell you why it went up other than cost went up.
So what, doing the
Blame Joe
payment,
Biden, all I can say.
what will that, cost us in interest? Is that on here?
4.55%.
4.55.
In real dollars, we're talking 8,000.
I think the original estimate came in, you're right, Brent, I think the original estimate came in somewhere around 130. But in the last 2 to 3 years, we've been told every time we put in an order for something, that the builds will determine the final cost.
Fantastic.
And that goes across the board, doesn't it? I mean, it was the same thing with fire equipment, same thing with anything else we bought, that there are estimates and the build cost will actually bring in the final total.
And it's never lower.
Never. I think I can say that with certainty, never. So what we had to do tonight was the resolution.
This contract we have here is, now we're locked into this amount for this price, and that's.
It's locked in.
Yes.
Okay. And we gotta have this.
We need it terribly.
The one we've got now, if you didn't know, is about 30 years old, and every time we use it extensively, it breaks down.
That seems like me as well.
So,
I'm about 30 years old and break down a lot. I understand that.
Well, then now you completely understand. So I will entertain a motion to accept the resolution and the changes in the cost of this equipment. Do I have a motion?
Christie, do you want to leave?
So I don't have a motion to accept
I'm
this?
thinking about it.
We're thinking. I think we're thinking too. I was looking through restricted funds.
They spread the cost out on the $30,000, $33,772 over 3 years.
Doubling it from the budget's what's just a hard pill for me to swallow.
Okay, well, we're going to have one, and if we don't buy this one, the next one's going to be more expensive.
We need to draw the extra 30-something thousand out of where.
It'll come from the next 3 budgets. So what you need to understand is this is a piece of equipment that is necessary.
But what necessary piece of equipment are we taking it away from in the next 3 years is what I'm kind of concerned about.
Well, I'm hoping that in the next 3 years, we see enough, a $33,000 increase in receipts that we can take care of that. And something else will be paid off in the past.
Yeah, but those have lower interest rates.
They won't from this day forward.
4.something.
4.55.
I'll make the motion.
I'll make a motion, he said.
Okay, Bates motions, Brent seconds. Post,
Aye.
Sproles,
Aye.
Bates,
Aye.
Shaw.
Yes.
Dang, y'all like pulling teeth tonight. All right, the next one is to consider the Parks Board recommendation for board members, although I believe, am I not wrong, Dillon Steen has pulled his name from the list. So we only have one to approve, which would be Jody Langston. I believe her application is in your packet.
I make a motion, you looking for a motion?
A motion to Langston. Do I have a second?
Second.
Post. Shaw.
Did Mr. Steen give a reason for his?
So okay, yes. He wants to be a full-blown volunteer and bring Bob along, which is beautify our Bowie. So he feels like he can offer more as a volunteer. And then they wanted to limit their size of their group.
Okay. Understand.
So he brings with him his volunteers instead of sitting on the board.
Yes.
Sproles? Bates? Post?
Aye.
Almost said boats and paste. Oh, we're on to public comments. Do we have any public comments tonight? Is there anything on here? Okay, then we're going to join, and Christy, you didn't have to leave the meeting early. 7:41. 6.